Hi, I'm Britt.
And my name is Alyssa.
And this is SkeleTales.
And this is a podcast where we strive to answer the age-old question of, is my dead grandma watching me?
Tonight, we are in our wingback chairs. We have our mugs of beverage, and we are doing a SkeleTalk tonight.
Yes, we are. But that's not my part. Keep it going, Britt.
So the individual that we are interviewing tonight is someone I went to high school. Back then, he was known for his black jnco jeans, chain wallet, and love of 9-inch nails. For several years, he co-owned a haunted house where he created the most horrific nightmares to scare the shit out of people. He doesn't brag about it, but he is also an actor and played an excellent villain in the movie Into the Darkness. And he is the best artist that I know, has spent almost a decade as an on-set makeup artist, mostly involving on-set FX gags, and is currently working in California for an Emmy-winning FX studio. I also heard rumors that he has some pretty stellar spooky stories to share. So I present to you, everybody, the amazing Andy Arrasmith. Welcome, Andy.
Thank you. Hello. Hi.
Okay, so I'm just going to hop into it because I have a few questions for you. The question I am most curious about was your time when you were doing haunted houses.
Just who, what, when, where, why, how.
I got into haunted houses right after college. I was trying to work in film and didn't really know what I was doing because I knew nothing about that at the time. Went to Austin. I was looking for acting gigs. I found a haunted house. I'd never even really been to one of those things. And I was kind of expecting it to be just black hallways and kids in crappy costumes. I just had this vision of it not being impressive.
Yeah.
And when I went to it, it was like a film set. It was nuts. It was a multi-million-dollar really creative, really well done business. So it really got me excited. I got hired as some kind of manager, and it really impressed me. So I just kind of stuck with haunted houses for a long time, doing makeup and working inside of those. And I really fell in love with it. And when I came back to Denton, where I lived for a while, a decade, maybe.
That sounds about right with the timeline.
Yeah.
Denton, Texas is what he's talking about.
I met some people and we got together and made a haunted house called The Dark Path. And it was very low budget compared to a lot of the ones that they have in Texas. Texas is really into haunted houses and horror culture. So the haunted houses there are massive. So we were just kind of a little underdog in Denton. And we had a location. It was this forest, kind of wooded area, just kind of on the outskirt of Denton. And there was a bridge that was built the late 1800s or early 1900s. I don't know. It's an old bridge. That's probably completely wrong, the dates, but
That's okay.
in any case, it had a whole haunted history and urban legends attached to it that start a really long time ago, like the 1920s or 30s, and just continue. You have a lot of spooky events happening there. So it's kind of the talk of the town. It's a crybaby bridge, right?
I'm sorry.
What's a crybaby?
Yeah.
I don't know what that is.
Is that the urban legend? That's the name of it? Is that people refer to it as the crybaby bridge?
It's the crybaby bridge where something bad happened, like a mother drove off the bridge with her baby and or something like that.
I didn't know that that's what that was called. They're all over Texas, these crybaby bridges.
Right. Every
Wait.
town has an Elm
So
Street.
the haunted house was by this bridge?
Yeah, it was directly across the street from it.
Oh my gosh.
And yeah, there are two high schools that are right by this haunted place. and it's a hangout for kids, and cops are out there all the time, like kicking them out. So we were like, hey, let's put a haunted house right here. Everybody knows about this place. It's mischievous, and we'll give the kids something to do. So that's kind of what we did.
Oh, that's
brilliant. Denton has a lot of kind of misfit creative people. And, there's the 2 colleges there, and it's kind of a music town. Like, people go make bands in Denton and kind of get into the culture there. It's kind of like a miniature Austin.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's where Andy and I met. We met in high school in Denton, Texas. Billy Ryan High School, represent.
Yeah.
We were not into high school. Okay, so tell us about the bridge. Tell us about the bridge.
It's a bridge. It's a
Wait, have you been to this bridge, Britt? Do you know the bridge he's talking about?
I only know about
sure you have.
I very well may have, but I was not privy to the rumors. I only recently heard about them after we started the podcast, and I started researching like spooky places.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't know about it in high school.
You just went there to go smooch your boyfriends?
Probably.
Did you jump off?
Well,
this
that's
bridge?
what it was too.
Sorry. Is there water underneath it? Is that what I'm asking?
Yeah, there's water underneath it. People did jump off of it. We had actors doing that. It's totally dangerous, I'm sure. But there's water underneath it. Sometimes a beaver waddles through it. It's out in the woods.
Okay, I don't want you to describe the bridge. Well, tell us the folklore of the bridge.
The urban legend is that, there's a couple different versions. Because it's an urban legend, there's nothing official. But the most popular one is, I'll do my best. There was a man, an African-American man in the 1920s who had a very successful goat business. He apparently was very successful as a goat farmer, and he put up a sign so that people would know how to find him at the bridge. And it was a sign that said, "This way to the Goatmans." Apparently there were government body people in the community. It was like a KKK thing. Like they didn't like a black man having a successful business or something like that.
I mean, that sounds right.
These guys, these mysterious people, it's kind of like when The Preacher's the werewolf. It's like people knew who these KKK members were. They just didn't really. That's how I heard it. And they went to his house in the middle of the night. They crossed the bridge with their cars, with their headlights turned off so that he wouldn't be able to see them coming. And they dragged him out somehow or another to the bridge, and they were going to lynch him over the bridge, which they did. And at some point, they look over the bridge expecting to see him hanging, right?
Mm-hmm.
But his body isn't there. It's just an empty noose. So in a panic, they drive back to his house thinking he's escaped, and they burn down his house with his family in it.
Oh,
Jesus.
Right. So the Goatman is a spirit of vengeance. He something like the KKK guys mysteriously all started dying, and all of these other things that you hear people come up with. I'm not sure, if this has any validity to it. It's been such a game of telephone that there's like multiple versions. One of which is really cool, which is a totally different version. It was a younger guy with a different name, and I can't remember again the names of people, but he was thrown over the bridge like in the other story with a noose around his neck, but the noose was made out of barbed wire from the goat fences, I guess. And it cut off his head. And then he fell into the river, I guess. And it continues. It's more of a horror story where he comes back, but he's just the body without the head. So he takes the head of a goat and replaces it on his own head, and like sews it on with a barbed wire. It's a little bit more Hellraiser, you know.
The whole time I was envisioning the opposite. I don't know, goat body, guy head.
That would be really creepy. That like
I don't know why.
Like a goat comes up and it's just got this dude looking up
yeah. Yes. I know.
Would it be like a human trapped on a goat body, or would it just be a goat with a human head?
I think it would be a goat with a human head, but he walks on hind legs.
Would he have the goat eyes?
Oh yes. I love that idea. Yes.
This is why the Goatman is so freaking horrifying, because all of this stuff is just nightmare fuel.
Okay, so how does the rumor go? How does the Goatman haunt people on this bridge? Like, what are people like saying that they're seeing?
Well, what I used to hear was on Halloween night, I think it had to be Halloween night, you are supposed to drive across the bridge with your headlights out. Like, there's a whole way of summoning.
Okay.
If you drive across the bridge with your headlights out at midnight, you'll see the Goatman. So
you worked right next to this bridge. Like, are you getting people coming into the haunted house and they're like, "Oh shit, man, we just saw the Goatman, and now we're gonna get scared again at the haunted house"? Like, were there a lot of people that you were aware of that witnessed something? We had like 1,000 people a night coming in, so it was. Oh, they're not chit chatting, huh? They're in party mode. You know, Goatman, what's up, homie? You know, they're having fun. We had a Goatman. We had a Goatman walking around. Yeah, of course, you had to. Yes. A lot of people just know that story or some variation of it, or that there's something spooky related to the bridge. I mean, Ghost Adventures. What's that guy? I don't need to plug other people, but they went out there. Oh, we don't know them.
And okay. Come at me, ghost. Come at me. You know, that kind of thing. It's
taunting him.
Oh my God.
Yeah, real aggressive.
Anyway, there are haunted shows that go out there and try to summon Goatman. So it's pretty well known about. And it was kind of like a gift wrapped package for marketing the haunt.
Hell yeah.
You know, because we were starting small. We knew we were going to be a small haunt. So we wanted to just kind of let it exist in the ether and kind of become, you know, just kind of gestate and become its own thing, which kind of happened because it has that urban legend attached to it. It drew a certain kind of people. Also, just being a haunted house, the nature of that draws certain kinds of people out of the community to be involved.
Yeah.
And ghost stories happen and spooky things happen. And that kind of creates the identity of the haunted house.
So here's my question. Did you personally experience anything in that area? Because it's already just ripe for spooky shit to happen. Like, did anything happen to you personally there?
Yeah, I saw weird stuff. First of all, it was I had heard a lot of people complaining about strange things happening to them out there. So I was trying to be logical. And that's why the situations that I get myself in with the whole supernatural thing are so upsetting, because I am a very logical person. And when something's happening that you can't rationalize, that's when it just freaks the hell out of you and makes you question your life. But most of the time you would just hear strange sounds, and I would just think that, well, it's a forest and we're out here in the middle of the night, you know, it's some weird creature. Who knows? On one occasion, I saw a shadowy figure where there shouldn't have been people. It was the middle of the night. I think we had closed for the night for like quite a while. We'd been closed for probably a couple hours. But me and the other owners were hanging out, and I saw a freaking shadow. It's like in the forest. It's low light. I could have just, it's one of those things where you saw someone and then they're gone, and it's just upsetting.
Was it the shadow figure? Was it normal human sized, or was it larger?
Yeah, no,
was
it
it
was
shaped like a goat?
it looked like a man, and
Okay.
it was so black that it shouldn't have been. If a person was standing there, I would see features,
Yeah.
and there weren't any. It was just a shadow in a human form. And I responded really aggressively at first, because I told myself, that's a person. There's a person there. They're not supposed to be there. And we had so many problems with people breaking into the haunts when we were closed, and rowdy people, just all sorts of stuff. Like we had to have a police officer there every night just to be there.
Yeah.
For all the shit that goes down with when you put that many people that are all partying into a line together at a haunted house. And I would kick people out. I'd always see kids come in and with their girlfriend or boyfriend or whatever. It was just that kind of place, It's a crybaby bridge, and then there's the wood. So I was just upset that there was a person there that wasn't supposed to be there. But when I heard myself tell the other people that were there that there's someone in the woods, it just started hitting me like, no, I don't think there is. There's not. Dude, that was not a person. That was either a shadow person or it was my imagination, because if there had been a person there, I would have seen features. So it was just one of those minute little things. But when it happens to you, it's bonkers. So yeah, that's about it. As far as spooky stuff happening to me out there that I couldn't explain. But a lot of the other people that were out there building the haunt late at night would be telling me that they had experiences like things tugging on them. Everyone would hear a goat. I heard a freaking goat, actually.
You did?
Yeah. That's just, I'm just like, no, it's not a goat. That's got to be somebody out there playing a prank on us or something. What is strange, though, that kind of validates the whole goat farmer thing. There are trees out there, like oak trees, that are, they get really big. Some really good sized oak trees with barbed wire coming out of them. Like it's growing out of them.
Oh, yeah. And
the barbed wire is right at the height for a goat fence. Like it's sort of lower to the ground. So it looks like someone did have kind of a goat farm out there across from the bridge.
That's legit then, huh?
And there's also an old house foundation that was burned. That was on the property.
Wow.
Interesting. So there might be a seed of truth in this lore, like somewhere it didn't just kind of...
Either that or something happened out there that had a story made up about it. Because I don't know how old the story is. That's, but it's so many people people believe in the Goatman like hardcore out there. It's that's the local phenomenon.
Wait, what happens if the Goatman gets you? He's like nibble on you? What does he do? Hoof you? Trample you?
Oh yeah, if he has a goat head.
I don't know.
Because they chew on clothes. That's my experience with goats. Oh, because they tug on people, right?
That's
maybe
what it
like
was.
Nibble,
guy,
pulling on the clothes.
I had a guy working out there, and he was the most upset of everybody that ever worked for me at the haunted house. Working out there on his own, he said something was pulling on him, like tugging on his coat and then pulling on his pant leg, and he was trying to leave the location, and something was just tugging on him, and he was getting visibly upset just telling me about it. So that's kind of odd. Maybe they're ghost goats.
There's no man involved, just a lot of ghost goats roaming the place. I kind of like that.
As far as the haunted house goes, you said that you have all sorts of kids trying to sneak in and break in. Did you ever have anyone in there who posed as a worker who then tried to murder a guest? Because that's a fear of mine, and I'm wondering if that ever happens.
We were on the lookout for someone to do that.
Okay, really?
Yeah.
Hiring for a hire.
Has this happened before? Because I've looked for stories. Like, yeah, do you know of any? Has this happened in a haunted house? And surprisingly, I have not been able to find any instances of this actually occurring.
No, but that'd be a great plot for something. You should write a script.
Right.
Right? Yes.
Well, there's actor Plant. That's a kind of along the same line, but you're talking about like an evil motherfucker posing like
with a real
monster and
chainsaw
coming in and actually.
Wait, tell me what an actor
yeah.
plant is, though. I don't know that term. What is that?
That's when you have an actor posing as an audience member. Like they'll be in line, just in normal clothes, and they're actually part of a gag that's about to happen. Like a person will be talking to you in line, and they're like holding their car keys, and they have their phone, and they're just talking about like where they're from and where they work and whatever. And then someone comes up and slashes their throat, and they bleed out, and they grab them off.
Shit! Oh my God! I'm telling you, Alyssa, a serial killer for sure could sneak in a haunted house if that is a possibility.
I know,
That's
right?
terrifying. Can you imagine being a patron and standing in line and then just blood is splattered fake blood splattered all over you?
I would laugh, but that's the thing. Everyone would think that it would be like, everyone would think it's an actor or, right? And everyone's like, oh my God. Yes, but it's not.
Okay, this has been a huge question on my mind. I've only been to a haunted house a couple of times because I am a big time chicken. Like, I scream. I'm probably the ideal patron, actually, because I terrify everybody around me.
You have to use the chicken exit.
Yeah, I've never chickened out. I've never used the chicken exit, but I certainly have I do not keep calm in the slightest. But I've just been who comes up with the ideas? Like, did you come up with all the ideas for the room? Were you sitting at home and having to brainstorm with a pencil and a piece of paper? Like, what is the spookiest shit that's going to make people poop their pants?
Pretty much constantly. I was obsessed with haunted houses for a long time. I still am. I'm going to do another one. Yeah, you're just constantly having ideas about, that sort of thing. Theme, style, what kind of makeup do we want to do? What kind of masks, characters? What's the backstory of that character? How are we going to portray that? How does it function inside the haunted house? Who do we have to hire? It
really is theatrical, huh?
Yeah, very much so. And the good ones are.
What would you say were like your top sets? I don't know. What rooms were like the ones where you're like, oh, this is just beautiful. Like your creme de la creme.
Well, we had a pumpkin patch that was pretty impressive. I went out and planted pumpkins before we started our first year earlier in the season, and they grew. So we had this massive pumpkin patch with vines like taking over the woods. And we incorporated that into this kind of throne with the Halloween king guy. It was a very impressive monster. It had like a pumpkin head and a skull face and organs hanging out, and very macabre, but also kind of Halloween-y. So that was a really impressive set. And we would do things like that, just set up these scenes that made you stop and appreciate it. And that kind of sets you up to be scared by the things you're not paying attention to. So it's just kind of misdirection that you get carried away with and have fun with. And we had a fun spot with chainsaw guys where we called it the chainsaw sandwich, where it was just trap doors and two chainsaw guys running at you.
Oh my God.
One of them in a tutu. And we had a lot of fun, man. It was scaring people to death like that brings you such joy.
Did you
Um,
ever actually scare someone to death? Any heart attacks? Anything like that?
no heart attacks. I've seen people go into seizures before.
Oh shit.
Oh,
Oh, those
I was
strokes.
thinking seizure. Yeah,
Yeah.
because it probably just like getting the heart.
That's not the fun kind of scare death, though.
I've seen some people faint. Oh, PTSD people.
Oh
Oh.
God,
That's
yes.
a really scary one. This wasn't at my haunt. This was at the House of Torment in Austin. One year that I was over there. Yeah, someone apparently came in and they had been through Hurricane Katrina. And that haunted house is like a massive apocalyptic city when you go inside. You're in these like alleyways with steam coming out and crumbling skyscraper illusion type stuff and zombies coming at you. You know, so she went through that after Hurricane Katrina like destroyed everything, and she was still pretty fucked up from it. And yeah, she had a breakdown in the middle of the haunt and eyes wide on the ground, just freaking out, screaming like her mouth was as wide open as a mouth can go. She was freaked out and just not coming out of that, you know. So you go up to
Yeah.
her, and I have a mask on, so I take my mask off so I don't look like the devil. And I'm trying to get her to calm down and call security. Security's a big cowboy guy with a hat on and all black, kind of a scary looking dude. That's why he was security. And he just kind of comes out of the walls and makes, you know, solves everything. And he's got a flashlight with a strobe on it, like the cops have, you know,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and he's using that. And she just loses it even more. Like that takes it up to 11. Like it was really illuminating. But yeah, that's probably
Yeah,
the
that's
scariest
scary.
thing that I've seen happen with a customer.
Oh,
These are
man,
not
she's-
answers I expected. Sorry.
No, me
I-
neither.
Like even the strobe one, I feel like maybe that the people must not have known they had
Most
seizures.
people don't know it. A lot of epileptics don't know they're epileptic until they go to something like that or a Pokemon movie.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Crazy.
Well, so what is doing the haunted houses where you got your start doing the FX, the makeup and the costumes and the masks and stuff?
Technically, yeah. Which is
So,
weird.
Just to tell all of our listeners, Andrew has been an artist since I've known him, and I'm not talking like, oh, you know, here's this cool cartoon. Like, Andrew's art is so detailed and immaculate and trippy, for lack of a better word. And but when I met you, you were doing paintings and things, and so it did kind of seem like a natural transition for you to. It's sculpting, really, right? Doing the
Mhm.
masks and things. But the artwork that he comes up with these masks and effects is so realistic that it's terrifying and mind-boggling.
Thank you.
I'll post some pictures on the show notes of some of your work.
Is that what you went to school for? Was art or acting or what was you said you got into
No,
this right after college?
I went to school for painting.
Oh, okay.
I was kind of like one of those wanderer kids who didn't know what the hell they were doing. So I went to school in Texas and then joined a rock band and disappeared into the ether. So when I got my shit together, I went to SCAD in Savannah, Georgia, which is incidentally the most haunted town in America. Officially, they have a plaque. So that was a cool place to live. But
Okay,
no,
hold on.
I
I'm
went-
just going to pause you there for a second. You were in Savannah, the world's most haunted place in the world. Oh, I just said that. Okay, please tell me you have something to say about that.
Yeah, I
Did
had
something
a
happen there?
A really strange thing happen. Gosh, I had started a production company during school and doing a lot of theatrical stuff. And a gig that I had was working for this tour company called Ghosts and Gravestones. And they would take you out on a trolley. There was a spooky trolley, and they'd show you all the haunted things. There's a huge ghost tour industry in Savannah. And they had a contract for a house to include in their tour. The guy that owned it, he just kind of got grandfathered in or something. He inherited the house or something. His name was, it was a really funny name, Bader. I think his name was Bader, something Bader.
Master?
That's yeah. Right. Oh,
wait,
God.
Britt.
Yeah, it gets weird. So this guy, he was a kind of a younger guy. It's like, who's this guy that owns this fucking mansion? He owned this house called the Sorrel Weed House. The history was that this guy, Thomas Sorrel, I think that's his name, came over from like Haiti or somewhere. His father was white, his mother was black, and he was in, I guess, Haiti. I think Haiti. Somewhere there was a revolution happening, and he fled to the United States with family. He became very successful. Like, he grew up in Savannah there, and he owned slaves. Like, he had a plantation, and he looked white. Like, everyone thought that he was white back then, you know, but he wasn't. He was half black. And there was a voodoo curse, this blood curse, that if you deny your roots, everyone that you love and in your immediate family, everyone that you love will die.
Whoa. And
that happened to him. So, like, all of his family around him, his kids, his wife, he had a mistress. There's all sorts of detailed story, like very dramatic, crazy story, fascinating, that goes along with it. But that house was very popular with the ghost tours. And
what was the name of the house again?
The Sorrel Weed House. There was a basement where it was slave quarters, just down below everything. It was all brick. It looked like a freaking dungeon. And one of the quarters had big French doors with glass windows and all of that. And this was apparently in real life used for voodoo, you know, back in the day, but whenever that was. I don't recall the years, but pre-Civil War, probably, obviously. And this tour company hired me and my girlfriend at the time. We both did this production company. They hired us to make the room look like it had recently been used for voodoo.
Nice.
So
I bet you were excited about that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We went and talked to people that practiced it, and went to weird little shops, you know, with asking people about voodoo and trying to find stuff out. Like, we wanted to do it for real. We didn't want to do just a fantasy version of what we thought.
Right.
So we went to like the source, and all of this stuff that all this information that we assembled, like things like going to a cemetery and pulling the roots of a tree that was used for execution or something like that. And you have to use that for creating like a mock graveyard. These are like altars to the Loa, the voodoo gods, or Voodoo.
Whoa.
And
you didn't do that kind of stuff, did you?
We did it all.
Did you go get roots? You went and got roots from a cemetery?
Oh, yeah. We had to do it legit.
What?
Like, I feel like you're just accidentally like casting all sorts of spells.
Anyway, we were making this thing as legit as possible. Like, we had jars hanging from the ceiling that had it all had to be stuff that was relevant. We were putting glyphs and symbols all over the walls. It was nuts. It was freaky. You know, it was really horrifying. Like, the room, it already had a sordid history. It was already kind of uncomfortable to be in a place like that. It was totally bricked. The floor was brick. The ceilings had these old beams of just gnarly timber wood going across them that was
Yes.
from whenever it was built, you know. And it was creepy already. You know, after we were done with it, it was just in the freaking stratosphere. Like the French windows, we painted them like this dark red, each little window pane, and then we etched it out these two snakes sort of facing one another. We had it lit inside with all of these candles and altars and things so the snakes would glow, and then you'd go through that. We had Spanish moss hanging from the ceiling, which sounds kind of goofy, but it looked cool. It was cool. And I was out of town momentarily. My girlfriend at the time was working on that that set for late hours. And she started having experiences that she was telling me about. And me being skeptical was kind of just, you need to go to sleep. You know, you need to.
What was
happening? Out. She said she would hear her name being called in an upsetting manner just by the wind and the air around her, just calling her name. I'm just like, that's not happening. And she was saying things like the windows or the doors like unlocked and blew open and then shut again.
Oh,
I'm like, yeah, that, you know, the wind can do that. And I just had some kind of answer for her, you know. I just kind of figured, you know, I'm trying
some way to solve it. Yeah.
I'm not trying to be a jackass. I'm just trying to make her not feel scared or something. You know, it's maybe I am being a jackass, but anyway, I'm just coming up with some kind of explanation. So I come back and start working on it again with her. And it's late at night. Let me back up a minute. Just like a couple hours during the day, I'm working there. We have visitors a lot. Our friends will come by and hang out with us because we're doing cool shit. And they're theater kids. So we always have somebody dropping in, like, here, have some cupcakes while you put up skulls on the ceiling. Someone comes by and starts talking about this movie they watched and the whole witching hour thing, which I'd kind of heard about. It's 3 a.m., right?
Yes, I have heard about this.
I think the idea is that there's a clock is at 3 a.m. with the hands and it makes an inverted cross. Maybe, I don't know. Or maybe that's the time.
I did not know that's why it was.
Or it's an invert at the time that Jesus died or something like that. It's something blasphemic. I don't know. But anyway, she's talking about that. It's kind of like, okay, yeah, that's spooky, groovy, whatever. And it's getting late. My girlfriend is tired. She's saying she's going to go home. I'm saying, you know, go home. I'll finish up because we still have a lot to do. And I work a lot at night, naturally, not lately. But I would work like all night. I'm just a nocturnal creature and I like to create stuff. And so I'm in there just like, you know, it's time to leave at a certain point. So I'm starting to kind of wind down, but I hear this sound, like this scratchy, crawly sound. And it sounds like it's coming from the floor, like it's coming from around me somewhere in the room. And my girlfriend has gone home. There's no one else there.
Like a rat in the wall?
Yeah, it sounded kind of like a scurry sound. And the walls are brick.
Yeah.
And so I start looking on the ground like maybe it's a ball bearing or a marble. I'm just trying to see in my mind like what it is. We have all these random objects all over the room for these altar things, like jars filled with weird shit. So I'm like, maybe did I kick something and it just has perpetual motion now? What does this sound? And I couldn't tell how many of the sounds were happening. Like it was just kind of chaotic. And it was bugging me because it's a really quiet room. And there's this fucking sound. So I'm thinking maybe it's a bug. Like we have a cemetery dirt in the corner of the room.
Right.
You know?
Oh my God. Yeah.
So I'm looking for, maybe it's a bug or some shit. I don't know. It's weird. I'm like looking at the window and like, what's going on? The door has like shut and closed a couple times on me. It's not like
What?
that. I just it
Wait.
looked like
While
a
you're
fucking
alone?
thing. Yeah, that would happen periodically, but I'd be like,
Okay,
hey,
but
hey,
do
Danica,
you
look,
feel the
it did it
wind?
to me. No, but I mean, it
Oh my
was a big
God,
house. You know,
Andrew.
pressure could just change and affect the doors. That would just blow it off. I don't know. I'm not an architect or a physicist, not a doctor. But
Okay.
I I had also heard that that room drains people's batteries. Like people go down there for
Mm.
the tours with their camcorder, and it drains the battery when they're in there. I don't know why, but I'm like, maybe there's something weird going on with my phone. And I pulled my phone out. It was a long time ago, so it's a flip phone,
Mm-hmm.
and it says 3:00 a.m.
Oh,
And
Did you
I'm
know
looking at the ground, and it now all of a sudden it sounds like fucking fingernails.
her?
And I couldn't rationalize it. I couldn't stop and say, well, let's try to get to the bottom of this. I just lost my shit. My
Yes.
brain went, no, get out, when in doubt, leave, bolt, run. And I fucking ran outside and I left all the work
Yes.
lights on and everything. Like it wasn't dark and spooky. I was in there just working on stuff, I was sweeping the floor at that point. And then
Oh
that
my
happened and it
God.
just kicked me out of the house. And so I have my phone on me and I'm calling my girlfriend, waking her up at 3 a.m. And I'm just like, fuck this place. I don't know what that is. And I told her what had happened. I was upset because when I get upset, I just fucking go bonkers. I go through the roof. And that was
Yeah.
really upsetting. And I got my shit together. Like I calmed down after you've been away from the thing that scared you for a few minutes, after a couple of cigarettes. I smoked back then. I did all sorts of
And
dumb
then
things.
she was able to totally rationalize this thing that happened to you,
yeah.
right?
She was like, I told you, motherfucker.
She was just kind of like, I told you anytime. No.
Oh my God,
Uh,
there's totally some person that got buried down
we
there,
went
right?
back.
There's got to
Okay,
be
so there's
someone
more
under
to
that floor.
this.
Okay,
We
I'm
we
ready. I'm
go
ready.
back and we're working on the place and Bader comes in, the owner. He always comes in like with a drink in his hand. He's kind of like that guy in Trailer Park Boys with,
I know
he's always
exactly.
got a drink. That's Bader. And I ask him like, you know what? I've got this fucking figured out. There's a pipe under the ground. It's probably empty pipes under the ground and there's rats living under there. That's gotta be it or something. And so I go, Bader, hey, what you got pipes under these bricks? And he goes, no, man, there's nothing under these bricks. These bricks are new. He goes,
Ew.
yeah. He says, yeah, like we had the house renovated a while back. This was decades back, I guess. He said there wasn't a foundation. It was all just fucking dirt. Like they built it. All this part of the house was just fucking dirt. So they started digging it up to put in a proper foundation that would have been pretty big, I guess. And they started digging up bodies from the Revolutionary War.
Oh, shit.
Oh,
And he said, yeah, all these bricks are new. They dug up all these bodies, and he told me all about that. And then he said they didn't stop digging them up. They just kept coming. So they said, you know what? We can't dig them all up. Let's just fucking dirt it up
Lay the
and
bricks over
lay the
the
bricks over
people.
it. So that's what they did. And that did not help me feel any better.
Oh my God. Oh. Do you have photos of this room that you decorated?
I do not. I had painted a portrait of Baron Samedi, the voodoo god of death. He's got like this twisted skull face and a top hat. I had his eye. I had mirrors as his eyes. Like I'd cut them out and put mirrors behind them. Like I'm a psychopath. And then I put goat's teeth where the mouth is. So it was this kind of 3-dimensional painting that was all wiry and janky looking and freaky. I don't have any pictures of it. I'm really awful at documenting my work. But I'm sure they exist somewhere.
Oh my God. Honestly, you got off the hook if that's the worst that happened in that room, though, because you were just asking for it. You were literally summoning cemetery dirt.
Yeah, we followed all of the instructions to the letter. Like we were pouring whiskey on the altar and putting money out.
God.
And then writing glyphs and shit. You don't even know what you're writing.
Oh, yeah.
We
knew what we were writing.
Time.
We had to understand what we were writing.
And was it like dead come to us?
To life?
Oh, they were just prayers to Baron Samedi and the other goddess. I don't remember. The Loa.
You're fucking raising people from the dead, and they're like, cool, this used to be just some soft earth I could push up. Oh, shit, there's some brick here. Maybe if I scratch slowly on this brick,
oh my God,
it can be released. Oh, God, that's so terrifying and amazing.
Something was pulling them back to the world, I guess.
Oh, my God. Something. It was you. You were the something.
Damn, man. I was not expecting that. That's really good.
For a minute, I thought Bader was the old homeowner who lost his whole family, and then you said he owned slaves, and I was like, oh shit!
Oh no,
he really was a master. He was Master Bader.
That would have been wow. Okay, well that would have been yeah.
I got real excited.
That's horrible.
I mean, he was the boss. That's kind of like a master, right? Okay, so Andy, you've seen the spookiest shit. You've come up with the spookiest scenarios in your art, in your makeup, in your costumes. Tell me, what scares you?
Everything. I'm terrified of everything.
No, I don't believe that.
Yeah, I mean, I spook easily. Like I used to tell people I owned and operated a haunted house because it was my therapy. Teaching people how to be scary and creating the scary thing. I don't know. I feel like manifesting that sort of stuff in an art form, in a creative way, kind of makes it tangible so that
like less scary.
Yeah, like people that are really creative with horror, like people like Clive Barker. He's a really humanitarian, good person who writes about really fucked up, horrible, evil shit.
I don't know who that is. Clive Barker. Is he an author?
Yeah, he created Hellraiser.
Oh, okay.
And Candyman.
Okay.
I can relate to that. I think that's a very good explanation. I totally can.
It is. I mean, that's why we're fucking doing the podcast,
exactly.
Isn't it?
Like so many people are super into everything. Like Clive Barker, right? We should probably know who that is, but we don't because I don't watch scary movies because I'm too scared to watch scary movies. Like I like comedies. I get too scared.
Oh, you don't like scary movies?
This actually is on my list to ask you what your favorite scary movie or movies are, because I want to know.
Probably my all-time favorite movie is Alien or Blade Runner. But as far as spooky movies, I loved Pumpkinhead. I like monsters, and I like a sort of believable story. I mean, obviously it's a monster, but if you watched that movie and you took the monster out, it's still a good movie.
I've never even heard of it.
You know what my all-time favorite scary movie is, if we're talking about these things?
I want to know.
Mine is Pot Zombies 2. More pot, less plot. I may have looked at your IMDb.
Oh my God.
I kind of want to hear about that movie. I've never seen it, but I was like, yes. Is that worth a watch?
No. Yeah, sure. If you like trauma movies and that sort of thing, it's kind of one of those. There's a guy in Texas named Justin Powers. He's like a lead grip on every fucking movie that they make in Dallas area. And he made a movie, and it was about zombies who got zombified from smoking radioactive weed. And Lloyd Kaufman saw it and loved it and wanted to mark or sell it as a trauma movie. So they did this whole thing, and it kind of became this weird, like it was in High Times magazine at one point. I would just see it around and be like, no, I'm never going to watch that. That's ridiculous, but it's kind of funny too. Then I started working with the guy and stuff, and he wanted to make a sequel, and I asked him if I could be in it.
What role did you play in the movie?
I play I play a closeted gay frat boy who's in love with his bro.
Yes. I have to see this immediately. Oh my god.
Do you become a zombie?
You'll have to watch it.
We'll have to watch it.
Okay, the suspense. He's going to leave us in suspense. Shit. While we have you on the line, Andy, are there any other stories that come to your mind that you feel like you should share with us? Something that might be spooky or just strange or paranormal or anything that like shook you at the time?
Well, something that really has always freaked me out since it happened to me, since I saw what I saw, is, okay, so do we have time for this? It's kind of a story.
Absolutely.
Let's go for it. And yes,
it's the weirdest thing. This happened to me when I guess I was probably an older teenager. I was asleep. I woke up to a figure standing next to me and leaning over and whispering something in my ear. And it jolted me up. And I was looking right at it, and then it rose up and disappeared into the wall. And I was up. I was awake. It wasn't a dream. I saw that, and the figure, it was very strange to look at. Like you couldn't tell if it was wearing black or wearing white. Like it was flashing in and out in my memory. But I feel like it was this full white figure with a hat on, like almost a top hat kind of thing. Guy wearing a hat. And it really upset me. It freaked the shit out of me. And then
my God.
I heard a story from left field from someone who saw a figure like that in a hospital near where her husband was about to die. Like waiting outside one of the rooms, or he would just kind of appear, be walking away from her down a hallway. And she would see this weird tall figure in a hat. And then I just thought, oh, that's fucking like the thing that I saw. Maybe I don't know. It just really kind of, it was so jarring to me at the time that hearing anything similar to it, really kind of got me interested. I was working on an indie movie, a really low budget monster movie called Cherokee Creek about Bigfoot. And we have an actor in Billy Blair. This guy's like big rock star guy. He's in all the like Machete movies, and he's in that Alita Battle Angel movie. He's always like a bad guy. And so I'm sitting at this table with them. We're having lunch, I think, or breakfast or something. We're just chilling, which doesn't really happen on a movie set, but it was kind of that kind of movie. Anyway, he starts talking about this documentary that he saw. And he's talking about shadow people. And I get kind of interested because shadow people is another thing that I've always, when I was younger, I used to see shadow people. And I guess clearly I still do, because I saw one at the Dark Path haunt. I didn't think about that. But anyway, I get interested. So I I searched Netflix. I think it was on Netflix, and I find it. I think it was called The Nightmare. I think, and it's about sleep paralysis. It's a documentary. And they start interviewing people, and they start talking about the Hatman.
Yep. We did a whole episode on this.
My fucking hair stood up. My hair stood up. It freaked me out so much. I lost it. I don't believe in shit like that. It's not supposed to exist. So when that happens to me, holy shit, it's like I have to sit down and think about the world and my life and all of this stuff. Like, what is it? What is out there? There's something out there that is not from here. It's, and then you just go down this rabbit hole of what the hell. So yeah, that's, I hope that answers your question.
Okay. 2 things. First thing, what was Hatman whispering to you? Do you
remember? It's the
God.
most unnerving thing. I can't stand that I can't remember. I remember it. I heard it. I registered it. I had the words playing in my mind when I was awake. And like, by the time I had turned the light on, I was just thinking like it was dissolving from my memory. Like nothing had happened.
Oh God, what I wouldn't give to know. The reason we did an episode on Hatman was because my niece saw the same thing, Andy.
No shit. When?
This would have been, she said that she was in, I want to say maybe 12 years ago.
In Denton, though? Or no, Utah?
No, when she saw it, it was in Utah, but she was a young kid. She was around 10, I want to say.
And it whispered to her? Or did she just watch her story?
It did not whisper. It stared at her.
But she saw it repeatedly.
She saw it repeatedly. It stared at her from her bedroom door, which is also very terrifying. But that's not the only time I have heard of shadow people kind of melting into walls, though. I have heard this before.
But the Hatman specifically was the same thing where she saw it, I think told Britt about it, but had no idea Hatman was a phenomena. She described it to a T, and then it turns out that all of these other people like yourself have seen the same entity, like wearing a hat, and have described the same thing. I know, it's freaky.
What is it?
I think we solved it. And my guess is like it's an alien, and they're all coming to check up on their project.
Yeah,
their pet projects.
That's more in line with where my mind goes. I go into thinking like there's alternate dimensions. They're not alternate, but additional to the one that we exist in, or the 4.
God, you and Alyssa, 2 peas in a pod, you two. Jeez,
that's I love it.
Maybe but I hate it. Whispering, you're not going to remember any of this.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And then you forget what you've been doing with the Hatman.
Woo. Yes. Yeah. Oh my God.
Okay, Andy, last question. I hope you're ready for it.
Okay.
What 3 items would Alyssa and I need to bring to a seance to summon you from the afterlife?
Gosh. I have a weakness for chicken wings.
Oh,
nice.
I have an affinity for emus.
I am so on board. Okay. Sorry. Okay.
Gosh, I don't know what the third thing would be.
I always like to imagine in my mind like Alyssa and I gathered around, maybe some family members too, and man, this is already a delight. All right, we've got chicken wings on a plate,
an emu, and
or
many emu.
Emus, the bird.
Several emus. Lots of live birds.
Some music I like. I listen to a lot of toadies. It's nostalgic. That's lately my thing. So I guess the objects change depending on which version of me you want to summon.
Oh, Oh, I like that.
All right, so in this version, we're blasting the toadies. We've got a flock of emus, and we are eating some chicken wings.
That sounds like a party.
Hell yeah, it does.
Yes. All right, and then you just like appear wearing a top hat from the shadows,
Or with your body sewn onto a goat. Wait, your head sewn onto a goat body. Please.
That's the one that you.
Yeah. Fine.
I'm down. That would be fun. That sounds like a party.
Oh, awesome. Oh my gosh, Andy, thank you so much for talking with us tonight. This was a true delight. I am, yes, so thrilled that you were here.
Anytime.
So Andy, I was going to say earlier, and then I forgot because you started telling amazing stories again, but I did look through your Instagram as well. And so a lot of your masks and all your artwork is in there, and it is delightfully horrifying. And so do you want to share your Instagram handle with everyone?
I don't even know what it is.
Oh, how did I find you then? You have an Instagram handle, or what do you want to plug?
Just keep track of me. I'm doing cool stuff. I don't know what to say. Haven't updated my IMDb in a while, but got some cool movies and shows coming out, I guess. Lord of the Rings on Amazon. It's called
What?
Rings of Power.
Nice.
Work on that. That's exciting. Doing a lot of stuff for Guardians of the Galaxy 3. I can't talk about it much, but it's really cool.
Awesome.
That's gonna be a while though. Mandalorian season 3, that's coming up. Check that out. I did a lot of work on that.
Oh my God, I got questions that I can't probably ask you, but holy shit. Amazing.
So if you want to dive down the secret world of Andy Arrasmith, Andy is spelled Andy. Last name is Arrasmith, and his IMDb is the first thing that pulls up. So you can see all the awesome horror movies that he has been a part of.
Well, some of them. There's a lot I didn't even. Never mind.
But if you're willing to dig, you can see all of his incredible makeup art too. That's very cool.
Hey, Britt.
Oh,
Britt.
yes. What is it, Alyssa?
Hey, haunt you later.
Oh, yeah. Andy. Hey, did you hear?
Hear what?
Haunt y'all later.
Haunt y'all later.